Hello and welcome to the next section. Since we configured IPsec from left to remote side, it's time to configure the WireGuard tunnel from top to remote side. As with IPsec, we'll have to check if the routing is in place. So we'll go to the top pfsense and we'll try to ping the remote pfsense. Let's see if the ping will work. And it would look like that the ping is not working, as we can see here. So we should check the routing. And we don't have any routes, so I will create a new gateway on the WAN interface, and I will call it remote gateway. The IP address should be 192.168.0.252, which is this interface here on the Juniper. It's actually it is 253. So 253, I will save this. I will go to static routes and I will add a new static route with the IP address of the subnet, which is configured between the remote router and the remote pfSense. So I click apply the changes, go back to ping, and I will try to ping again the pfSense. See what will happen this time. Okay, it would look like that the routing is in place, so we can go ahead and start configuring the WireGuard. So before configuring WireGuard, you should go to settings and click here enable WireGuard. Also here the WireGuard should be enabled. After you enable the WireGuard, you should travel to tunnels and add a new tunnel. We'll use port 666 for this tunnel, and we'll have to generate a new key. Also on this side, we'll create a new tunnel. We'll use port 6666. We'll generate a new key, and we'll copy this key and add it right here. And we will copy this key and add it right here on the second peer. Now I can go ahead and save the tunnel, apply, so save the tunnel and apply. Now that I have configured the tunnel, I should start configuring the peers. And I should use my newly created tunnel. I will use a static endpoint, and here I will add the IP address of the WAN interface from remote pfSense. I will add the port that we used for the tunnel, and here I should add the public key which I have created for the tunnel config. So I'll copy again the public key and I will use it here. Okay, so here I should add the allowed IPs. And by allowed IPs, I should add the IPs that should be reachable from my end. And in my case, it is PC7, and the IP address for PC7 is 192.168.2/24. But as soon as you'll save it, the allowed IP address will be saved as a subnet address. Also, what I should also do since I created the WireGuard tunnel, I will must create also a interface for the WireGuard tunnel. So my interface will have this IP address. On the top side, it will have 33.33.33.1, and then on the next side, it will have 33.33.33.2. I will save this config here, and I will move to configure the peer from this side. On this side, the endpoint should be 192.168.0.202, and I will use port 46s. Also, I should also add the public key from this side. And I will copy the public key and I will insert it here. And also on this side, I want to allow access to PC4, which is in 192.168.10.0/24 network. And I should also enable the access for my gateway, which is 2 on this side. And it will also be in /24. So I save. And if I go to status and check the status, I can see that nothing happened as of yet. The next step will be to go to interfaces, assignments, and I should assign the newly created interface. So I'll add it, save it, and I will enable that interface and I will call it Wireguard. I should configure an IPv4 address for it, so it's 33.33.33.2 on this side /24. Save. An interface group with name WireGuard exists, so I'll call it Wire. Now I should move to this peer to assign the WireGuard interface. I will enable it and I will call it Wire. And the IP address on this side would be 33.33.33.1/24. Let's wait till it applies the changes and check again our WireGuard config. And as I can see, the status is not yet up. If I go here and if I go to the firewall rules, on this interface, on the newly created interface, I should allow all traffic on this side and also all traffic on this side. Let's check again the status. And still nothing happened. Well, let's finish the configuration first, and afterwards we can just troubleshoot the WireGuard connection. Actually, let me check if everything looks fine here. The IP address is correct here. IP address is also correct here. the listen port is correct on both sides. And to complete this config, I will also need to have another gateway, but I can configure it by going to the interface and add new gateway and just type the IP of the gateway. So on this side it should be 2, and on the remote side, if I go to interface, wire interface, add new interface, should 33.33.33.1. Let me save the config. And let me check the status again. Okay, now the WireGuard is established. I can see that it is green. I can see that the IP is allowed. And what I can do, I can go ahead to PC7 here, and I can ping PC4, which have the IP address of 192.168.10.2. And from my observations, the ping is not working yet. So once again, maybe I should check the firewall rules for the WireGuard. This is allowed here, and it is allowed here. Maybe my routing is not configured correctly. Let me add a static route 192.168.10.0/24, and I should use the WireGuard gateway. And on this side, if I go to routing, static routes 192.168.1.0/24, and I should use the WireGuard gateway. And if I attempt to ping again, I can see that it started to do something. Let's check again the configuration, especially the peer configuration. And maybe on this side I should put 1 here. Let's check. And on this side, under the peers, I should use 10. Let's save and check. So after I did that, I can see that the configuration is working well. So things to remember here. Under the allowed IPs, you should also use the IPs that you want to access from the other side of the tunnel. It's also valid here. I did not put the 192.168.10.0/24, but I added the IP from the other side. If you respect those rules, then you shouldn't have any problems configuring and making your WireGuard tunnel to work properly. I can test also the WireGuard tunnel if I log into the remote pfSense. And if I do TCP dump minus NNI on the WireGuard tunnel interface, I can see that my traffic is traveling freely from side to side. Also, what you see here is the gateway keep alive function. I just can go ahead here and I can just disable the gateway monitoring from one side and from the second side. Actually, I don't like this gateway monitoring, but with gateway monitoring you can implement different stuff. Under the advanced, you can add rules to which will assist you in your implementation. And to make it work properly, I think I have outbound NAT here generated, and I should switch it off to make this work properly. So now if I ping, actually I should check here NAT outbound, and I should add manual generation. Let's try another ping. It is still using the nated IP. Maybe I can disable the outbound out completely here and here. And let me attempt another ping. Okay, now the traffic is working correctly, and I can see that my IPs are not nated. As I said, to check the status, you just go to Wireguard, status, and you can check your tunnel. If it is green here, then everything is fine. And it means that your WireGuard connection is working properly. Also, you should know that WireGuard will work with UDP connection. So for example, if I will allow only UDP, only TCP port here, if I go back and check the status of the WireGuard, it should go down any minute. Let me attempt a ping. So it looks like that as soon as it is established, it should work without interruptions. But it is not valid for our IPsec tunnel. No, it is. So the point here is that when you create the firewall rules for the WireGuard, you should allow the UDP port that you have configured here to allow the connection to work properly. So thank you for participating in this lecture, and I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day.